We're back again. Brian here with the 7 Aspects of Life channel, coming to you on a Sunday afternoon. Again, a short summary of what the 7 aspects are. You got the spiritual aspect, you got the soul aspect, you got the physical body aspect, you got your financial aspect, your social aspect, your renewer, and your duplication aspect. We focus on these aspects of life because they're like a vehicle that you use to get to your destination as you work on making your dreams come true, fulfilling your purposes, and trying to achieve your goals. It's like if you take care of a car, that you drive all the time. It makes it a whole lot easier, less obstacles, less distractions when it comes to you driving it to whatever destination that you are going to. So that's what these aspects are. They if you work on them, take care of them. For example, you take of your physical body, you're healthy. You don't have any distractions or that slow you down or stop you from working on your purpose, your goals, and your dreams. Because if these aspects are not worked on, then if one of them is lagging behind, if something's missing in any one of them, if one of them is it doesn't have updated or upgraded information, if one of them is not mastered, then it kind of slows the others down. They say that a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So if you have a chain that has plenty of strong links, but there's one particular that's weak, then that's how strong your chain is. So you have to make all the links strong, because if one of them is not at the utmost condition that it should be in, then it's like a domino effect, and it ends up affecting the others. So on the previous video I was talking about we've talked about the spiritual aspect, an introduction to it. We've talked about the soul aspect, we've talked about the physical aspect, we've talked about the financial aspect, and now we're on to the fifth one, which is your social aspect. So your social aspect is first of all how you interact with yourself. So you got to start with you, because if you don't know how to deal with yourself, then it becomes very hard to deal with others. So the first person you need to study and understand is yourself. For example, like, because you didn't create yourself and you didn't give birth to yourself. So it's almost like if you buy a phone, you read the manual. You read the manual to understand how that phone works, because you didn't manufacture that phone. Somebody else did. And you want to know their mind, what it is that they had in mind when they created this phone. What is the best way to use it to the maximum? So you study yourself, you study your characters, you study your traits, your likes, your dislikes, what makes you tick. When are you best at when it comes to mental work? Are you best in the morning after a cup of coffee, or after you take a nap in the afternoon? You study yourself so you can use whatever it is that you carry, your characters, your personalities, your strengths, your talents to the maximum. And once you can understand yourself to pretty high level, and it's a continuous thing. You don't just get to where you feel you've understood. You can understand yourself enough to where you can maximize your efforts, but there's no end to learning about yourself, because there's so much potential in us that even with old people who are super old, they still not done. It's just that we tend to get old and pass away, but that doesn't mean that it's the end of life. But you can live your life to where you fulfill your goal, and then there's nothing else left. But really, once you understand yourself, You know, like I said in a previous video, there's people who are really good at studying personalities, like a book called Personality Plus. That book helped me to understand a whole lot more of who I was, my strengths, my weaknesses, what I need to work on, the best professions that my personality would fit well in, you know, my traits. And after that, once I really understood myself, and it's kind of started making sense, it gets really freaky if you've never done it ever, because it seems like the author has been watching you all your life, you know, because you're like, wow, that is me, you know. And of course, it's not 100% accurate, but if you can have an 85%, 75% accuracy, that's pretty high, you know, because of course, you know, if you're a certain personality, maybe your parents were a different personality than you, so you might trace some kind of might trace a personality, you know, that your dad had, or you could end up also having a bit of personality that your mom has if they're different from yours. So maybe that accounts for the 25%. Just for example, I'm just throwing numbers out there to put my point across. So if you can have a personality test, you know, there's all kinds of tests out there. People have different skills on how to test, but if you can get a hold of one, it really like lights up like dark rooms in your mind, you know, make you discover rooms in your mind that you didn't even know that you had, and it makes it easier to work with yourself, you know, because if it's difficult for you to work with yourself, if you don't know yourself, then you know you don't know how to utilize, you know, whatever you have to the maximum. If you don't know how a phone works, then you know you just you probably know the basics, or don't know why it works, or how to open up some functions. Then you have a limited usage of the phone that you have. So you know, studying yourself is a lifetime, you know, job that'll never end. But you know, it's a lot of fun, you know, learning about yourself, you know, and I recommend it highly, you know, because the thing that a lot of people do is they try to understand other people first, or they try to work on other people first instead of working on themselves first. You know, like what I learned is that it's easier for me to work on myself than to work on others, because you really cannot change anybody's mind. You cannot change anyone. The reason why people change is because they open the door and are willing to change, but you can't force anyone to change. Even the creator himself cannot force anyone to change. But the easiest person to work on is yourself. You know, there's a principle called the life's piping, and what that means is that when a pipe has a burst, has a leak, you know, it's burst at a you know, it's busted at a certain part of its length, then you know, you don't fix the water. What do you fix? You fix the pipe, you know, because the water is doing what it's supposed to do, but the pipe was not. So what that means is that, you know, when you put it into our lives, is that the situations, the challenges that come to you are actually if they affect you negatively, then that means that they've come to your life to show you that there's a leak in your life. So that means that you have to grow to the point where it doesn't affect you anymore, because you know that you fix the water, you fix the pipe and not the water. And once you fix that leak, you know, to the point where a leak will not occur at that particular point of the pipe again. So when it comes to you, let's say, for example, if there's somebody who irritates you, they are actually revealing a leak in your pipe. You know, it's not them at fault, it's actually us. You know, or let me use an example of me. It's actually me. If I have somebody who irritates me, it's showing they're revealing a weakness in me, not in them. Yes, it might be a weakness that's making them irritate me, or sometimes it's just being themselves, and my personality and theirs are clashing. But what it's really revealing is a weakness in me. So what I need to do is go find a way to make myself, to grow psychologically, to grow mentally, to grow spiritually, so that the next encounter that I have with this person, I don't get irritated anymore by them. In other words, to grow out of it, to grow not out of it, but to grow from it, to get myself stronger, so that people with that kind of personality or that particular person no longer irritates me. So that means that, if I go back to the example of the piping, is that the water pressure can be about the same, but the repair of the pipe is so like it's so solid that a burst will no longer occur in that area anymore. So that is actually my experience. People who have seemingly brought like challenges to my life, people have seemingly like maybe make me angry or irritate me or make me upset, are people who they're actually a blessing in disguise. Because if I try to find out, because there's people out there, like I said, who know these things. They know the answer to these things. They know how you can overcome these things. They know in every area in every aspect of life, they can teach you how to overcome negative people. They can teach you how to overcome negative situations. So once I started seeking this knowledge and understanding out, I found so many people that will teach you how to get out of that. But the number one person or being who will help you to do that is the Creator. The Creator will help you to overcome situations like that or people like that, so that they don't have to change, but you do. Because if you wait for somebody to change, that means for them to treat you better, for you to feel better. What if they never change? Does that mean you feel horrible for the rest of your life? Does that mean that it's over for you? No, you have to find a way. You could tell them, you could maybe bring it up, especially if it's something genuine. And if some people, they might be apologetic and actually change, and some might not. They might change for a little bit and then revert back to whatever it was that they were doing that would cause you harm. And I don't mean like, I'm not talking about somebody who causes you physical harm or, physically, mishandles you. I'm talking about emotional, spiritual, that kind of thing. So once I encounter somebody like that, in my mind, the piping principle flashes in my mind. I'm like, okay, this person just revealed a weakness in me. Okay, say for example, they call me a derogative, word. They use a derogatory, they used a word that maybe isn't appropriate for me. So and that irritated me. So it's not them, it's me. They just exposed a weakness in me. So it's my work, my job to go and work on myself, to where even if they did use that word again, it wouldn't bother me. And what you do with that is you take the wind off their sail. They usually say that if somebody's trying to irritate you and they actually succeed, then that gives them more power. It makes them want to do it even more, because they have achieved the goal that they were going for. But if their intention was to irritate you, and they attempt to do that and it doesn't work, it's just like kind of hits you and bounces off of you, then you kind of took the sail off their the wind off their sail. They don't know what to do with you, because mission not accomplished. So that's what happens when you start understanding. So everybody who comes to you irritates you. Sometimes they might not do it on purpose, and sometimes they do. So either way, it doesn't matter. There's always a way. The obstacle is the way. I've said that in a lot of videos. The obstacle is the way. Find a way to look for an A student who's good at that, who knows how to deal with bullies, knows how to deal with people who irritate you, knows how you can handle personalities that don't line up with yours, and it's an opportunity for you to grow, because not everybody's gonna be pleasing, to you, and that's what it is, because there's some people who end up being miserable for the rest of their life because they're hoping that the person who's making them miserable is going to change, and if they never change, then that's it, and sometimes they don't even know how much they're hurting you, and they might be going about their business having a good time while you're sitting somewhere in the dark being miserable. So learn that they're actually revealing weaknesses in you. They're revealing weaknesses in me, and I need to deal with that weakness so I can turn it to a strength, so there's no longer vulnerability in that area. Like that pipe, there's no longer vulnerability for the water to gush out of like a hole from it, because it's been fixed. You see, that's one of the experiences that I've had when I'm dealing with the personality aspect. So there's different kinds of aspects. So what this book does, the Personality Plus, is it's like, when you go to the mall, they have a map that tells you, when you look at it, it first shows you where you are. Like it tells you are here, and then after you know where you are, your location, then you can kind of guide yourself to whatever store you're trying to go to. So first of all, you need to know where you are in your personality. You need to know where you're standing to know where you need to go. So hopefully, I'm not going to talk about the whole book, but just kind of summarize it to give you like a to give you a desire, to give you to hopefully to build an appetite for you to look for this book, Personality Plus. So what it does is, after it tells you where you are, it describes your personality. You're going to take a test that's like all the personality tests do. They give you a test, and then you get a score, and then you get to see your scores, and the ones that are most dominant with the highest scores are the ones that pretty much your personality that runs. You might end up having all four, or all the numbers that whatever book you might choose to read has, but there'll be like two dominant ones that will let you know that that's your major operating system. So once you know what that is, then it's a lady. She talks about the weaknesses of that personality and the strengths, and she talks about how you can fix those weaknesses, because she doesn't just leave you there thinking, okay, these are my weaknesses, they're my strengths, that's it. No, what her goal is, once you've done with the book to understand yourself better, then go work on your weaknesses. And out of my experience, once I read the book, I started identifying other people's personalities based on how they talked, how they walked, how they did their work. Based on their mannerisms, I started having the ability to identify the personalities. And since I read about all the personalities, I was able to know, because she teaches you how to deal with other personalities, what they like, what they don't like, why they do what they do. And it helped me to stop getting irritated maybe at other people's behaviors, because I finally got to understand that it was part of their DNA. Some of them were not doing it on purpose. It was just how they're wired. So it made it so easy to deal with them. It made it easy for me to give them grace. It made it easy for me to overlook some things, instead of allowing them to get to me. And once you've finished reading the book, what she wants you to do is once you've strengthened your strengths even more and worked on your weaknesses, you should be able to sit across the table with a person who has a different personality than you and actually have a meaningful interaction with them, because you understand their personality. You understand how to talk to them. It's like somebody who one person speaks English and another one speaks Spanish or Swahili. Now, if you know how to speak Swahili, the communication becomes smooth. But if you're speaking English and they're speaking Swahili and they don't understand a word of English and you don't understand a word of Swahili, then communication can be very difficult unless you have Google Translator. But if you understand Swahili and they understand English, or even if you just the only one who understands Swahili and they don't, it becomes the communication becomes easy. So you can communicate with other personalities, understand, maybe there's traits that they used to irritate, and you probably would get on them and tell them to stop, but they didn't know how. You start, it becomes smooth. It becomes less of a distraction. Remember the 7 aspects of life are trying to minimize the distractions. So if you know more of yourself and you understand yourself more, you know how to avoid distractions, because your personality gets distracted by A, B, C, D. You know how to avoid it, so that way you can focus on your purpose, your dreams and your goals. And then once you also understand other people and how they work and how they operate, then also the distractions are minimized there too. The other thing is that there's also subtitles to obviously this aspect of life. There's so many things when it comes to the social life. The number one thing I learned is, which I also got from somebody who's a whole lot smarter than me, as I'm always in the process of seeking knowledge and understanding and wisdom, is that human beings are like banks. There's a thing called, I'm going to call it a thing. It's really a concept called emotional bank account. Every human being has an emotional bank account. So what that means is that there are things that you do for a certain human being, and that is considered like a deposit. Like, for example, if I'm kind to somebody, if I do them a favor, if I brought them flowers, if I help them with housework, that can be considered a deposit into the emotional bank account. So just like a bank account, if you went and put $10,000, if you went in a bank account and put $200 million in there, then if you go to the bank and ask for 10,000, it's easy for them to give it to you because you have $200 million in there. So if you've been deposited into somebody else's emotional bank account, that's an input, right? And then as life goes on, once in a while you might need something from them. For example, if I've been helping my fellow friend, a friend of mine, I've been like depositing the emotional bank account, on a constant basis. And then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, can you come pick me up, give me a ride to a certain place? It'll be easy for them to do that, because it's like when I'm asking for them to do something for me, that's like a withdrawal now. You deposit more than when you withdraw. So if that is what I practice on becoming, having that as my default mode, always depositing into people's emotional bank account. Not because one day I'm going to withdraw, but giving. People, givers are more blessed than receivers. It is better to give than to receive. So that doesn't just apply to money, it applies to pretty much everything. So my desire is to always deposit into people's emotional bank accounts. Like these videos is part of that too. So so sometimes when life happens, you're gonna have a withdrawal, and a deposit could be like a smile. And I don't mean just depositing into people you know. You could be a stranger holding the door for them, while they're walking into a restaurant and you're walking out, or you're walking in together. You hold the door for them, smile at them. Strangers, people at the somebody at a restaurant you're buying food from, have a casual conversation, ask them how their day was, compliment them on something. It just constantly doing that as you live your life is an amazing thing, because you're leaving a trail of people who are feeling better because you were there. My other philosophy is leaving people better than I found them, leaving people who've encountered me better than they were before they had an encounter with me. That's one of my mission statements, and that's why I'm making these videos, so whoever watches this will be a better person than they were before they watch these videos. So just a super summary. First of all, start with yourself. Study yourself constantly on a daily basis. Become an expert of you. Become really good at knowing, how you work best. What do you love, what you don't love, and see if you can improve every day on working on your weaknesses, working on your strengths, and seek knowledge, seek understanding, seek wisdom on how to discover more about yourself, because there's people out there who've done this work already. There's tons of books. I know a lot of you know this already. I'm probably preaching to the choir. Tons of books that are out there that can teach you about yourself, and once you're really good at it, doesn't mean it's the end. There'll always still be more, because they're always discovering things out there, and of course the best one is the creator, because he's the one who created you. You can ask him to help you to know yourself more. And once you know yourself more, it becomes easier to know others around you, especially people, the closest people around you, to understand how they work, how they operate, and then once you know how people operate, then it becomes easier to deposit into their emotional bank account, because there's some things that some people consider as deposits into their emotional bank accounts, and you might do the exact same thing with another different personality, and it'll be considered like a withdrawal. For example, I'll give you one example, that what my son was trying to help my son is 19 now. They were a little younger then, and my daughter, who's 9, my son was trying to help my daughter do something. He was trying to help him, I think, with her shoelace or something, and my daughter was trying to learn how to tie her lace. I think that's what it was, I'm not sure. But when he tried to help her to tie her laces, she got on him, and she got super upset at him because of trying to help her with laces. And it's because her personality looks at that as a withdrawal. He thought he was helping her. He thought he was depositing into her emotional bank account, but it was a super withdrawal for her, because she's the kind who wants to do it by herself. Sometimes she doesn't want help. She wants to try it with nobody's help, because when you help her, she feels like you're showing, you try to tell her that she's weak. He didn't understand that, at first. But once I told him that her personality, that language, the language she was speaking and the language you were speaking were two different things. But if he understands what her personality desires, then it makes it easy. Distractions are minimized. Remember, we're constantly trying to find ways to minimize distractions so we can fulfill our purposes and work on achieving our goals and chasing our dreams. So you can chase them with a smoother experience. Doesn't mean life doesn't get easier, but the more you understand how things work, the easier it does become. So what you're doing is you're just kind of flying higher and higher and avoiding the obstacles. The obstacles don't go away. You just become better at dealing with them, and I'm sure there'll be more information that'll pop up in the videos in the future. But with that, that's all I wanted to say about the social aspect aspect of life. And with that, I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.